Hi everybody, and welcome to this next lesson in Arduino coding. Now, we've already combined the DHT sensor with the LCD display. Let's take this a step farther, right? So we don't need our DHT sensor anymore, and I want to create a project that's going to be a little more fun in life to use. So I'm thinking what we should do is create a randomizer where we push a button, and in our code it's going to choose one of 12 potential options, and it's going to display that onto the LCD. And you know what? I think I want to make this for Among Us. I'm going to make we'll do a sus randomizer. I think that's going to be fun. So I'm going to go ahead and change my sketch name. Do sus randomizer. Alright. I'm just going to get rid of those comments up there, and I'm just going to start on line 1. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is, hey, those came back when I clicked off. First thing we're going to need to do is include the liquid crystal display library. So we do the hashtag include, and then in our carets we'll do liquid crystal dot h. Oops, and caret. Alright, and then we need to set up the pins for our liquid crystal, and like we did in the last 2 times we've dealt with the LCD display, we type in liquid crystal LCD, and then we're labeling those pins as 12, 11, 5, 4, 3, and 2. Make sure I get that looking correct there. 5, 4, 3, and 2. Like that. Alright, then we add our semicolon. Let's drop down to the next line. We need to create the integer for our pen, however, our push button I should say, and we want to make sure that we're not creating an integer that could be accidentally changed in our program. So remember, we use that constant integer function, and we'll call this button. Let's set that to pin 6, since we know that's open. 12, 11, 5, 4, 3, and 2 are currently taken up, so I think pin 6 is a good one. And let's go ahead and add our semicolon and go to the next line. And next we need to declare the state of the button like we did with the lesson where we were getting the LED to stay on. And let's go ahead and create an integer that can be changed out, and we'll call that integer button state. Right? So integer button state, and we're going to set that equal to 0. We want that to be in the off position. And now we need to create a new integer called reply. So int reply. That way it's an integer that can constantly change every time we do a reply. So integer reply. Now we can go into our void setup. And in our void setup, first thing we need to do, of course, is set up the pin mode, which of course is going to be power source, right? So we'll do pin mode. We'll go pin mode. First we need to set 0 as an input pin. Okay, then we need to start the LCD with lcd.begin. Remember, we set that as a 16 by 2. Make sure you are adding those semicolons. Next, we can turn on the push button, right? So pin mode, go button, yep. And we want to set that as an input. And next, let's create a message to pop up on the LCD. So we'll do lcd.print, start parentheses, start quotation mark, and we'll go who is sus, question mark, in quotation mark, in parentheses, semicolon. that we have this set up, we can jump into our void loop. In our void loop, we're going to create that switch state where it's reading the the state of our button, essentially, like last time. Let's go ahead and set that to void loop. We'll do button state. Remember, this one that you have here needs to correspond with the integer you created up here. So button state equals sign, which again, equal sign represents is, and we'll have it set to a digital read, and we will have it check on the button like that. Semicolon, enter. Let's create a new curly bracket, and we need to create essentially what's going to happen whenever we push the button. We're going to do that by doing if, and then parentheses, if button state, if button state, oops, is, I'm sorry, equal sign, so we need two equals. So if button state equals I, or the on position, then what we need to do, and semicolon, okay, and then start curly bracket, hit enter. We want it to reply using the random number generator that is built into the Arduino code. So we're going to do that by doing reply equal sign random. And we need to assign a maximum value to the random. What's the highest number it can go to? In this case, I'm going to assign it a maximum of, we'll say, 11. Remember, Arduino reads from 0 to the number, so our first case is what it's called, is going to be read as essentially as number 1. So case 0 is actually our starting point. Okay. Make sure we do end parentheses, semicolon, and let's clear the string. We'll do lcd.clear. Start parentheses, end parentheses, semicolon. Do lcd.set cursor. Set cursor, and we want to set that to the starting position of 0, 0. Make sure you do your end parentheses and semicolons. And we can do lcd.print, and we'll have it print essentially nothing, just so it is cleared out. Okay. In parentheses, semicolon. Then we'll do lcd.set cursor. Sorry. lcd.set cursor, and we'll have that change down to 0 and 1. And then we will do switch, and we'll have it reply back to us. Okay. End parentheses, and then start curly bracket. I'm just going to scroll down so you can see this. And now we need to start creating our cases. Essentially, this is just the random set of code that the Arduino is going to pick, and then it's going to print for us. So we're going to call this one case 0, and we use a colon on that one. So do switch reply, case 0, and enter sign after you do the colon, not a semicolon, but a colon, and then do lcd.begin, 16, 2, and we'll do lcd.print, and we're going to, well, we need to check out what different colors are in Among Us, because I don't know them off the top of my head. So here we can see we have red, blue, green, pink, orange, yellow, black, white, purple, brown, cyan, and lime. So let's just make it easy. Let's just go in a row here. So we'll go like this. So we'll start with red, blue, and green. Okay, so lcd.print, and we'll do red is sus. right? I'll do it like that. And then end, in quotation marks, end, parentheses, semicolon. Next, we need to make sure it's on the screen long enough for us to see. So we'll set it as a delay of, let's do 2.5 seconds. So 2500 milliseconds, semicolon. And then we need to clear the display. So we go LCD dot clear, and then start parentheses, in parentheses, semicolon. Now what we need to make sure, once we've cleared off the screen, let's go ahead and do what's called a break command. And a break command is what allows us to essentially exit the loop, right? So it's stopped doing what it's supposed to, and we can break it and we can drop down to the next one, which will be case 1, much like we did last time. So case 1, colon, and then we're going to essentially copy all of this. If you want to save yourself some time, I actually recommend just taking what you've done, copying it, and then we Control V. Oh, that's not what needed to be done. Do this. Come on, Control C. If my computer wants to cooperate. All right, well, you should be able to copy and paste it. Otherwise, it's just going to be lcd.begin 16 by 2. We do the lcd.print, and we, instead of red, we'll say, what did we have next? Blue. And then we change it to the color that it needs to be. So blue is sus. Right? And we go through, and next we want to set, provide the delay command, sorry, 2500. And then we need to break it. And then we can go to case 3. And then so on and so forth, right? So we need to do this to incorporate all of those. I'm going to do that off camera so you just so it finishes, but all we're doing is adding all of these cases, and then we'll come back here in just a second for you. Okay, well, that was a second for you, and that was like 5 minutes for me. Yeah, I know, right? Super annoying sometimes writing the same thing over and over again. But you gotta do it, right? Just a few things, because I wanted to verify to make sure it was correct. Up here on, I believe it's my line 27 here, where it's under case 0. If you were following exactly along, and you made the mistake I did, you may have added 2 parentheses. Make sure you only have one of those. It would come back with an error, just as a heads up. But, you know, it makes it easier for you to do that. Next, let's see, we have here red, blue, green, pink, orange, yellow, black, white, purple, brown, cyan, and lime. And just to, again, explain what is happening here. Okay, let's just go over, like we always do, the entire code. We have to set up the library, so we include the liquid crystal. Then we set which pins the liquid crystal is accessing. We're creating a constant integer called button, or button for us to press. Now we have to create the button state, setting it to 0, and setting an integer called reply. Then in our void setup, we need to do pin mode 0 as an input, LCD 16.2, pin mode button input, LCD print who is sus. Right? We want to have the first little piece of information come here. Now I just backspaced here, so again, if you made that mistake, it's okay. Let's verify that these semicolons, or not semicolons, these curly brackets match up, and they do. And we can jump into our void loop, which is button state is digital read button. So we're just checking what the button state is of the button. Is it a 0 or a 1? Has it been pushed? to turn it on, or has it been pushed to turn it on, right? Then if button state is high, then we need to reply with random, and we're telling it a maximum of 0 to 11 is what it can choose, or what case it can go through. Case 0 to case 11. Okay, that's what that means there. Then we clear the LCD display of anything that might be on it. We're going to set the cursor to 0, 0, and then we print nothing. I want that blank. And then LCD.setCursor 0, 1, so we're moving it to the next one. Here we go switch, reply, so we're telling it that the reply, the integer reply we created, is going to be one of these cases. And switch means it jumps from case to case, right? And it randomizes which case it's doing. So it's randomizing the reply. Okay? Next, so we have case 0, LCD.begin, 16.2, LCD.print. We have read as sus. Okay, then we delay it because we only want the message on for 2,500 seconds, milliseconds, sorry, or 2.5 seconds. You could change that if you want it to stay on longer or shorter, totally up to you. But after that delay, it's going to clear it out for us. Then once it's cleared it out for us, it's going to break. It's basically saying, okay, we're done with this, break, and you can exit out of the program that you're running, essentially, or the switch reply. Exit out of that, so it jumps it back up to here, checking the button state, and then reading if the button's been pressed. Then we have our case 1, which, looks exactly like this up here. LCD.begin, LCD.print, so LCD.print, there we go. So you can see here, I just checked, I have a mistake on mine, all of mine where it says printing, or what it should print. There's that space there, we don't want that space, so I'm going through, fixing that quickly for us. Oh, it looks like I did the same on the begin as well. So you can see, even Mr. Dan makes some mistakes. And this is good because you can see what you have to then do to go through and clean it up. And this is why you should always review your code too. It's always good to get in the habit of checking things out to making sure they're correct. So this is all fixed now. So you can see we have our LCD.begin, 16.2, it's printing the line out, delaying it, clearing it, break. Begin, print, delay, break. Begin, print, delay, break. Go through, check your code again, and then also do the verify and save to make sure that it is correct. Mine's green, which means it's good, so then I can now build out the hardware for this. So you'll need the LCD schematics, and I'll show you how we add that button to it. I know this was a long video, so I'm sorry for that, but this was a little bit longer thing that we created. If you have any questions and you're watching this on YouTube, leave that in the comment section there. If you're watching it on Classroom, leave it on the comment section there. Or if you're doing this in class with me, then hey, raise your hand. All right, thanks for watching.